course, since our main attacker is Sinistcha, we'll be playing 3 of them with the 4 basic to evolve into them. Apparently no one has. You have to make sure you have the one with the ability. It prevents Dragapult from hitting it. Since they're only 30 HP, a Dragapult could knock out 2 of them if they haven't been evolved yet. And so you have to get the one with the ability to keep it alive. And so we'll play 4 of those with the 3 Sinistcha. And then 1 Sinistcha EX. Mainly what these 2 do is Spill the Tea lets you discard up to 3 grass energy from your Pokemon and does 70 for each. So up to 210 damage with increments of 70 and then 140. So you can do a whole lot. You one-shot Dragapult, you one-shot, or not Dragapult, you one-shot Charizard, and you one-shot Grimmsnarl and Zoroark. So it's really good at just taking out anything that's weak to grass. And the top attack does 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. So if you're going against a Joltik, you can throw 1 on like Pikachu, because it will surpass Pikachu, and then you could put 3 on Joltik and like get a knockout and then weaken Pikachu to be one-shot later. And so when you're going against other decks, you can just put damage counters on things. Just watch out for Monkey Dory so you don't get damage thrown onto yourself. Then for Sinistcha EX, we'll only use the top attack, which is for 1 energy. You get to put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, just any of them, so it surpasses or it goes past Pikachu EX, Terra. It goes past any of them, and it'll just put damage counters on them for each basic grass in your discard. So if we have 10 grass in the discard, it will do 200 damage to one of their Pokemon, and you put 200 in damage counters onto something, and then shuffle all those energies back into the deck. And so we discard a ton of energy doing a lot of damage, hit them with a 1 big hitter with Sinistcha, and then we take the game that way. So these are our main attackers. We do have some support Pokemon. So of course, since we need so much grass energy in the deck, we have to do 4 Teal Mask Ogerpon EX, because having the ability of Teal Dance, where you get to attach an energy card and then draw a card, lets you cycle more energy and then get more energy on the board. And you can just have so many of them in your deck. And so if you have even just, you usually want to have 2. I like to play it with 3, and I'll have 3 so that I can load up 3 energies onto the board, draw 3 cards, and then use Spill the Tea to discard those 3 that I just loaded, and then do the same exact thing again. And so it works well with 2 or 3. You gotta have at least 2 though, for the deck to run smoothly. So that gets us our energy, and you can still attack with it, because since it already has 1, you can then use its ability the next turn and then hand attach, and then you do 120 with just those, and it does more damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon and to your opponent's Pokemon. So it's just really good and can really stack up damage. It one-shots Iron Hands as long as they don't have a Bravery Charm. So Teal Mask is good and can work as an attacker. We have extra attackers. First off, Iron Leaves. We can throw Iron Leaves down onto the bench, and then it goes into the active and takes as many energy as you want, but you only really want to take 3 energy with it, or 2, and then hand attach. So it's a surprise attacker. It can work really great in the start game when you have like a single Teal Mask or 2 Teal Masks, and so you get energy on. You can attack in your second turn using Iron Leaves if you have 2 Teal Masks, because you can use the abilities on both of them and then play Iron Leaves and then hand attach, and that's 180 damage just right off the bat. And so it's a good surprise attacker and can help consolidate energy just when it's all over the board. And it's good, especially at the start of the game or at late game when you need to finish off some random Pokemon. For other starting of the game, we have Budew, the card everyone hates. We have Budew. We'll be playing Budew because it's easy to search out, because everything else is grass in the deck, and it helps us set up and get a lot of energy. It's very turbo, but sometimes you won't have Teal Mask right at the start, and you need to get it, and you just need 1 more turn to like play a supporter. And so Budew's here to mess with your opponent and chill everything out while you get set up. And then we play 1 more Pokemon, which is Pheasantipity EX. we need a Fez. Pheasantipity EX just helps us draw more cards when things are knocked out, and so you can fill your whole bench up with things, and then once something's knocked out, then bench the Fez, and then just draw your 3 cards. But you don't need to bench it too early because you want more Teal Masks or Poltergeist, an extra Poltergeist, in case just you don't want the Fez taking the spot of these guys when they're more important in how the deck works. And so you'll usually want 2 Poltergeists, one in the active, attacking, evolved into Sinistcha, and then one on the bench as a Poltergeist, so it can't be damaged. And then like 2 or 3 Teal Mask, and then you can usually play around with having more Teal Mask, or if you have Buddy when it wasn't knocked out, then he'll take up a bench space or something. So that's all the Pokemon for this. It's not a lot, but it works really well. We'll get to the trainers now. For trainers, we'll start with the supporters. We play a good chunk of supporters. We'll start with 3 boss. Since we're doing 210 damage with Sinistcha, we're not able to do a full knockout on a whole lot of things. And so having the boss, you get to boss up whatever you want and then knock it out with 210 damage. Or you can boss up Iron Hands and knock it out with Teal Mask or whatever Pokemon it may be. And boss's orders, we want to play a good amount of. You can play 4 if you want, but we are not playing 4 because of our ace spec, which is Prime Catcher, which I like to pair with boss because it's basically a boss. And so we're basically playing 4 boss, 3 of which being supporters, and then our ace spec. So a full count really helps, and it works well with the deck. You could run a 4th for potentially 5 bosses if you want, or if you did a different ace spec. But we'll play those 3. Along with those, we'll play 3 Professor's Research. Because Professor's Research discards our hand, we can get rid of any extra energy we have, or we can, if we've already used up a lot of our hand, we can get a full set of 7, because Professor's just good. But mainly, we'll be discarding the energy so that we can use Sinistcha EX to take big knockouts. And so, mid-game, when you need energy in the discard, and you're getting ready to use Sinistcha EX, use your Professors, get rid of the energies, like, get them in your hand, search them out, whatever, and then discard them all with Professor so that your Sinistcha EX will hit big and hit hard. And you can potentially knock out bigger things like even Dragapult if you wanted. So it's really good at helping the deck cycle through energy and what you need, where it needs to go, especially in the discard. Lastly, for supporters, we'll play 3 Iono. Iono helps because if they're knocking out our Teal Masks or like our Fez or whatever it may be, we can Iono them down to lower hands. And sometimes, in case we get a hand that isn't great to discard with Professor, we can then Iono shuffling it back into the deck so we don't have to worry about losing too many resources and like too many Pokemon if we don't want to lose that many. So 3 Iono works really well, and it messes with our opponent and gives us the chance to save cards instead of discarding them with Professor's Research. So that's all for supporters. We'll go on to items right next. Now for items, we'll be playing, first off, start with Pokemon Search. We have 4 Nest Ball to help search out our basic guys because we need Poltergeist, we need Teal Mask. We only really play the 3 regular Sinistcha and then the Sinistcha EX as evolutions. And so a full count of Nest Ball helps, searches out most of our things. Because we only play the 3 evolutions, or the 4 evolutions, we're going to use 3 Ultra Ball. It also pairs well with discarding Grass Energy, just like Professor's Research. So it helps get rid of our Grass Energy when you're trying to get Sinistcha EX ready to hit hard. We then have 2 Earthen Vessels. You could play more if you wanted, but since of Teal Mask's ability of Teal Dance, you kind of just draw into energies over time. You don't need to use too many Earthen Vessels, because as long as you have an energy, you're able to cycle more energy. So this is to really get us started off at the start of the game to get more energy at the start. and that works well. Next we have, this one's kind of a duh card. It's Bug Catching Set. Of course you want to use this because you look at the top 7 and take any grass energy or grass type Pokemon you have and put them into your hands. You take 2, so you can't take all of them, but it really helps when you're placing it or when you're using this card and then you look for maybe you need more energy. It's kind of like Earthen Vessel but without having to discard things. So Bug Catching Set really works well even when you're trying to search out Pokemon and you don't have like Ultra Ball to get the evolution. You can just Bug Catching Set for it, and this one really helps. And we're gonna want to play the full 4 count because we want to use them as often as possible. I usually use all 4 in one match, and it works really well in the deck. Lastly, we'll be playing 2 recovery cards, which are the 2 Super Rod. In case we discard things that we don't want to, like our Pokemon, or we get knocked out, we can Super Rod up to 6 different things, because 3 and 3 for each Super Rod, back into the deck. Usually we want to save it for Pokemon, because Sinistcha can cycle things back. But in the case that we really need energy, then we can use it on energy. But usually we can use Sinistcha EX to put all the energy back into the deck. So that's it for our item cards. A lot of duplicates, not very many variety, but we don't need it because we're going for max consistency. Lastly, we have energies, which we play almost a third of our deck is all energy, because we'll be playing 19 grass energy. Now we have all of this because it is max consistency deck. It really doesn't need to be searched out because we're playing so many of them. That's why we only have the 2 Earthen Vessels, because so much of the deck is just energy. So with a third of the deck being energy, and the 4 Teal Mask and the Sinistchas, we can cycle as much energy as we need onto the Teal Mask, use Sinistcha to get knockouts, boss up whatever you need, and then knock things out and get whatever, and then just win the game. And it's built for maximum efficiency, and it's just really easy to use because it's just power up Teal Mask and then throw an energy on Sinistcha and just start hitting for damage. So we'll run through a couple practice hands so you understand how to start the game, which is the most important part, of the match. All right, so we begin the game by deciding who goes first. So we'll roll the dice. If tails, we'll go first. It is tails. It's a 1. So we'll go first, meaning we want to go second because then we can use Budu. But in the cases that we do go first, it's just setting up completely for max efficiency in what we can do. So first we check for the basic, get the cards. We have energy. We do have 1 basic, and so we would be playing the Poltergeist up to the top. We'll grab our 6 prizes, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Lay those aside. And now, as going first, we wouldn't be able to use our supporter, but we would draw and have this hand. And so the supporters we can't use, we can throw those to the back. What we're mainly looking at here is this nest ball. So we will nest ball. We want to get Teal Mask Ogerpon out as soon as possible. And so we got one right here. We'll usually check the count. That's 2, and then 3. Do we have our 4th? We also want to check, do we have our 1 EX? Because that's very important. Oh, no, that's a research. So we're missing our 4th Teal Mask. So we only can play with a maximum of 3. So we'll probably end up getting 2 out. And then we do have Fez and Iron Leaves. And then we'll check for Budu in case we want to grab Budu out. We do have the 1 Budu. And then we usually can rely on not checking the Sinistcha Poltergeist because we play the 4-3 line. But in some cases, you do want to check just to make sure you don't prize too many of them. We'll shuffle after that. And then we'll be playing our Teal Mask onto our bench and then use its ability, Teal Dance, to then draw more cards. So that's all shuffled. Since we have this here, we'll now use its Teal Dance ability to attach that and then draw a card. And see, we kind of just cycle more energy. And now with this hand, if we drew something else like a bug catching set or something else, we would use that and then try to get another ogre pawn onto the bench. But since we didn't get that right now, we'll just play this usually onto Poltergeist. Because now, next turn, if something happens, we're able to retreat into something or attack with it if we get the necessary Pokemon. So let's say they go and they do their turn. They don't end up knocking us out, and then it's our turn. We'll draw, and we get this. So we're not going to use this right now because we don't have much in the discard. But with this, we can now... We have the 2 energy, I don't know, Professor, but we have the Prime. So we might not want a Professor because we have the Prime in hand. And it's our only thing of it. So what we'd probably do is do this first. Always Teal Mask first to get as much cards as you can. So we do that. We have an Iron Leaves. Using, in this situation, since we have Iron Leaves, what we'll probably do is Prime Catcher. So we would have to switch here. We would Prime Catcher whatever Pokemon that we want to knock out this turn that has at least 180 or less health. And since we just Prime Catchered them, they're up there now, and we can lay down Iron Leaves, which takes this energy and takes the other 2 energy and moves it to the active. So now Iron Leaves is doing 180 and knocking out their Pokemon. Since we just did that, however, before we knock them out, we've only got these 4 in hand. We don't really have any way to search out Ogerpon. Since we just used our Prime Catcher, we don't need to worry about discarding things now. We have plenty of Iono, we have plenty of energy, and we might not need to use the Super Rod. And so we'll Professor's Research away our whole hand, drawing a full new 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And with this, we get 2 Teal Mask Ogerpon and 2 Poltergeist, which is really good. And so with our bench, since we have 2, we can lay 1, 2, move those aside, and then another Poltergeist. So we've got a full bench now with full consistency. With this, we used his ability already, but we haven't used these guys. So we'll Earthen Vessel away. Since we have 2 of these guys, we could Earthen Vessel this one, but we haven't hand attached yet. So we can Earthen Vessel away the 1 Poltergeist, since we have the 2, for 2 more energy. So we'll look through here, grab 2 more energy out. And then with those energy, we'll use the other Teal Dances on Teal Mask Ogerpon. And so we're already guaranteeing a knockout, but now we've set up the whole board with things we can use. So we'll use this one, we'll draw a card. We'll use this Teal Dance, we'll draw a card. And now we've got these. So next turn, we would be able to Professor again, maybe the Fez if they don't knock anything out. But since we haven't hand attached, remember to hand attach to something. So in this case, we would do it to Poltergeist. So now Poltergeist has something. And so then next turn, we can just evolve and do that. However, since we have so many Teal Mask, if we don't hand attach, that's okay. Because you can draw another card using Teal Mask's ability, which only works if you have energy in your hand. So if you have energy in your hand, it works well, and you can do what you need to. But here, in this case, since we Prime Catchered up whatever we want to knock out, we'd knock them out. We take 2 prize cards, or maybe 1 prize card for whatever it may be. There's our 4th Teal Mask, and then things are set, and you got a knockout. And so it's built for super big efficiency. This was going first, not even going second. So the first and second turn of going first, we got a full board set up, and this is super good. And we have Professor to then get a full new hand and then use all the Teal Masks again. So let's see what happens when we're going first, and then you'll be all set. Now, let's see how you should play going second, because you get to attack on that first turn, and we can see some Budu action. So we'll shuffle this real quick, get all the cards mixed up efficiently, and then get some quick action with some Teal Mask and Sinistcha. So cut this real quick. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, we draw our 7. And you can tell I play this deck a lot because these are some scratched up sleeves and they've got like little, kind of like bent, because I've quite loved playing this deck so much. So with our 7 cards, do we have a basic? No, we do not. Sometimes that does happen because you don't play too many Pokemon. So you'll end up getting yourself some mulligans, but that's okay because you need basic, you need Teal Mask. If we start with the Teal Mask, that would be great too. So here's 4, 7, grab those 7, here we go. We get our hand, wonderful energy, and the nest ball, and we've got the Poltergeist. So we'd start with Poltergeist, we'd grab our 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, lay those down, put that one back, there we go. Okay, so with this hand, we would go first, or we'd go second. So they go first, they do their turn, do whatever, and now it's our turn. We'll grab our top deck, which is Professor, which is awesome in this situation. So first, we'll Nest Ball to get a Teal Mask out, because that's what we always want to do, is get our Teal Mask. So there's one right here. We'll deck check, just to make sure. We've got 2, and then 3, and then we saw the Sinistcha, there's a 4th one, and there's Fez, and we did see Budu. So we've got pretty much all we need for the match. We've got the Poltergeists and the Teal Masks, and so we'll be set to start playing and get things set up. Cut that real quick. Now that we've used our Nest Ball, we can now use an energy on the Teal Mat, or use the Teal Dance ability to then draw a card. It's now the Poltergeist. We'll drop that down, and then Professor to discard this. However, we are going first, and because of that, we're going second, and because of that, we might want to use Budu. So before we discard this, we're going to hand attach to Poltergeist, because by hand attaching, now we have the ability to retreat. So we'll then Professor and grab our 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 6, 7, double check. We've got this hand, can't use the supporter. Got the Poltergeist, we already have 2, so we don't want to play the other one. And then we've got this one, and then 2 bug catching sets. So since we've used this ability, we'll move him to the side. He's here. Now we can play him down, use his ability to attach to this one. It goes on, there we go, and then draw a card. And now we've got this. And now we can bug catching set. So we'll grab bug catching set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're here, and we're going second, so we get to attack. We have 3 energy on the board, and we can't evolve yet. So what we could do is grab Iron Leaves, and then be able to attack this turn. See, this is why Iron Leaves is so good in the deck, because it's such a good surprise attacker. So we'll grab energy, because we want to have as much energy as we can for Teal Mask, and we'll grab the other Iron Leaves. And then we put this back. Oh, forgot one. We put this back and shuffle these, because now we grabbed our 2 from Bug Catcher. And once this is shuffled, and we'll cut that, we can now use our other bug catching set. So we'll take these, put them into hand. Oh, not him. And then we'll use, before we do anything, we'll just use the other bug catching set right away. So we'll grab some of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then with this hand, here's what we wanted to see. We have Budu, but here's the thing. We could have taken this 2 ways. We could either, 1, take Budu and play it down, and then we could retreat and then attack with Budu, and then be attacking them with Budu and Buduing them. However, since we have Iron Leaves, we might want to play this a different way. We can take an energy and another Teal Mask, and we can just save Budu for later or for a different match. And we can grab these 2. And if we were to take this and then shuffle Budu back, whilst attacking with Budu isn't bad, in this case, since you have Iron Leaves already, it just doesn't line up. Maybe if they were playing like Dragapult or Charizard and they needed, or you know they're going to use rare candies, maybe you would Budu to keep yourself safe. But if you're going against Charizard, you would kind of hit them for weakness and knock them out anyways. And so in this situation, Iron Leaves is better. So we'll drop another Teal Mask and use its Teal Dance ability to then draw another card. And then with this, if you wanted to, you could like Ultra Ball away another Ultra Ball and then a Poltergeist, since we already have our 2. You could Ultra Ball away these 2 and then grab a Sinistcha. But for sake of time, we would just do Iron Leaves down and grab 3 energy. And you usually want to grab off of the Teal Masks first. So we grab off the 3 Teal Masks, have a fully powered up Iron Leaves, and because of its ability, it gets whatever energy it needs and then goes to the active spot. And so we would switch the Poltergeist out. He'd go down here. And now we'd have the 2 Poltergeist and the 3 Teal Mask all set up, and we've got energy in hand to then use on Teal Mask next turn to start drawing. And then we would attack with Iron Leaves, doing 180 damage, most likely knocking them out, since they went first and it's our first turn and we went second. So we get to attack and do that. And we've already cycled through a good amount of the deck. We used a Professor, Nest Ball, and then 2 bug catching sets. And always keep track of how many energies you have in the discard, because once it starts getting up to, since we run 19 energies, once it starts getting close to the 10, or once it's at the 10 mark or getting close to the 15, that's when you know time to prep another Poltergeist, a 3rd Poltergeist, to then evolve into the EX to then use to attack. And so it'll save your energy. Keep track of your energy. Play with at least 2, possibly 3, if you want maximum efficiency. And just load up your Poltergeist. Use Iron Leaves whenever you can, and it will be utilized and win you games. And then don't be afraid to Budu them when you need to. And that is the Sinistcha deck for you. One of my favorites. I hope you enjoy the list.